This is Bruce. It's Friday. This is our last full day on the ship, and it's about 8:30 in the morning, and it's a rough surf here. You could see the seas. The seas are rough, and just to show you what the Atlantic looks like on a bad weather day. And it's overcast and drizzle right now. So we'll have breakfast in a while, and we'll have to start packing today. We're heading in tomorrow at 7 a.m. in Manhattan. It's been a very nice tour, very enjoyable, and looking forward to seeing friends and relatives when I get back. Okay.
Good afternoon. My name is Stefan, almost like the captain, also from Sweden. However, I am the chief engineer on board. I have to admit, I never peeled any potatoes. My first ship, I was 17 years old, I actually had a potato peeler. But other than that, the story is almost the same. Of course, I chose the engineering side. I went down to the hole in the engine room, and just like the captain said, I liked it. A lot of fun stuff going on down there, so I figured this is for me. So I stayed. And I did all kinds of cargo ships for 4 or 5 years. And then I also had an epiphany. Maybe I should try to become an officer instead. So I also put myself through this school, and I came out with a chief engineer's license. And after that I was an engineer. I did, again, all kinds of cargo ships all over the world. And then back in 1997 there was an ad back home. And the Swedish newspaper were asking for engineers for cruise lines. So I called them up and they called me back. And here I am, you know. It's very simple. I've been with this Norwegian cruise line since '97. I've been around in a few ships, worked my way up the ranks. I've been on a Gem right now, just shy of 3 years as the chief engineer.
They actually have a competition among themselves. Whoever gets the most questions directed to them, they will win a free dinner ticket for 2 people at the Garden Cafe. So they're so excited to win. We do have here, Luz and I will be going around. We'll start here over the starboard side.
Okay, I want to ask the captain and the engineer 2 different questions. The captain, like laying in the bunk last night or even this morning, feels like we run into a log or something, and the whole boat shakes. So I want to know what basically that was. And to the engineer, how exactly does stabilizers work on a ship?
The first question is fairly simple. Those were waves. When the waves hit the side of the ship, they resonance it into the ship, and it feels like you hit something in. Well, we actually did, but it's just water.
Second question, I don't know. Are they out now? Yeah, actually, we do have, of course, stabilizers, so they're helping us. Actually, they look like airplane wings or dolphin flippers. That similarity. They're actually folded into the hull normally. Now we're out. They will extend down at an angle about 18 feet from the hull, and then they just counteract the rolling automatically. So if you list port, the starboard will tilt the ship up. So it actually moves and looks just like a dolphin flipper or an airplane wing. So that's it. Very simple.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Sonja. I'm the hotel director on board. I'm all the way from Austria, from the beautiful city of Salzburg. Anybody knows the movie Sound of Music? I started hotel management back home. I worked in different hotels in Germany, England, and in Austria. Before I decided to join cruise ship, I had friends working with me in hotels, and they were on and off on cruise ships. And you talk, you share it, and then one day I decided why I should not try it, and I put in my resume, and I started off on a different cruise line in the restaurants, did a couple of contracts there as a waiter, then I moved to housekeeping department, then I decided to resign from the old company as I thought that this ship life is done, over. But I went back home for a year, worked back in a hotel again, and then I decided to join cruise ships back again, and I decided to join Norwegian Cruise Line in 2002. I started then as a guest service associate in the department, worked my way up to guest service manager, was 5 years guest service manager Then I got promoted to assistant hotel director, was on the Epic, and then I brought out the Breakaway. I was there for 2 years. Then I got the promotion to food and beverage director, did one contract on the Norwegian Gem, before I got the promotion last year on the Dawn as hotel director, and I'm here now on the Gem since the last, I think, 6 months now. Yeah, enjoying the time here, and I hope you had a great time.
Well, the fact that I even started to work at sea was merely a coincidence. I don't have any family background of sailors. Never knew anybody working at sea when I grew up. But I did grow up in a coastal town in Sweden, and during my high school summers, I used to work at the ticket office of one of the local ferry companies there. And then one summer, I was asked if I wanted to have a position on one of the ferries, as they were short-staffed. And I thought that could be an interesting twist, so I got a job there as the cook's helper. I peeled a lot of potatoes that summer, but it was a summer job. It was okay, but what I took with me from that summer was the ambience and the camaraderie on board the ship. I really enjoyed that. Plus that listening to the seasoned sailors and all their adventurous stories about sailing around the world. So that got me intrigued. When I finished up high school, I didn't really know what I wanted to do with my life. So I took a sabbatical, and I took a job on a freighter going overseas. And this time I wanted to be a real sailor, so no more galley for me. I wanted to be in the deck department. So I traded the potato peel who was cleaning cargo holds and shipping rods and what have you. So. But anyway, I got to spend some time on the bridge as well, together with the navigation officers, and learning the first knowledge trade of navigation, and I found that very fascinating. And of course, on days like today, out in the North Atlantic, I fell in love with the ocean. I thought that was so powerful and so romantic. So that sabbatical, that became 2 and 3 years. And I thought, well, if I'm going to do this, I should do it right. So I went to the Merchant Marine Academy. I got my master's license, and then came back out on freighters as a junior officer, and then working my way up the ranks. And some years later, I happened to sign off a cargo ship freighter in the port of Miami. And as we were sailing into the port, I was looking at all those beautiful white cruise ships tied up there. So that sparked another idea. So before I flew back to Sweden, I stayed a couple of days in Miami and went around knocking doors at the various cruise line office. And I got a job there with a small cruise line. Doesn't exist any longer, but that's how I started in passenger ships, and I never ever went back to freighters again. So that was it. So I've been working for a few different cruise lines through the years, and I also went back to Scandinavia for quite a few years to work on ferries, stay close to family for some years. And as a matter of fact, I did come back to the very same company where I started peeling potatoes about 15 years later as a captain. So that was full circle there. Now I've been here with Norwegian Cruise Line for 14 years, and as they do shuffle us around in between the ships every once in a while, I've been 2.5 years here on the Gem.
They actually have a competition among themselves. Whoever gets the most questions directed to them, they will win a free dinner ticket for 2 people at the Garden Cafe. So they're so excited to win. We do have here, Luz and I will be going around. We'll start here over the starboard side.
Okay, I want to ask the captain and the engineer 2 different questions. The captain would like to, laying in the bunk last night or even this morning, feels like we run into a log or something, and the whole boat shakes. So I want to know what basically that was. And to the engineer, how exactly does stabilizers work on a ship?
The first question is fairly simple. Those were waves. When the waves hit the side of the ship, they resonance into the ship, and it feels like you hit something. Well, you actually did, but it's just water.
Second question, I don't know. What I have now? Actually, we do have, of course, stabilizers, so they're helping us. Actually, they look like airplane wings or dolphin flippers, that similarity. They're actually folded into the hull normally. Now we're out. They will extend down at an angle about 18 feet from the hull, and then they just counteract the rolling automatically. So if you list port, the starboard will tilt the ship up. So it actually moves and looks just like a dolphin flipper or an airplane wing. So that's it. Very simple.
Say it's not a question but a comment, and to express my appreciation for the way the entire crew in so many different spots interacts with the passengers. It's a pleasure in almost every case. And
Thank you very much.
and in particular, yesterday, the tendering operation, first time I've had that experience, and I have to say it actually did run smoothly, and those people who operate the boats and also greet the boats at either end, that they're out in nasty weather, and they just keep on doing it. They put in a lot of time and effort, and sometimes that's the type of thing we might take for granted. You're just glad to get off the ship, the little ship into the big ship, and we're not always able to spend any time interacting with these people, but they were doing a good job and perhaps not getting all the appreciation they should. So maybe you can convey it to them. Thank you.
Again, thank you very much for that positive comment. Yes, and on that tendering, it is a time-consuming operation, and we very often get a lot of complaints on the tendering even. So I'm very happy to hear that you were content with the tendering, and it is challenging. So we really try to do our best there.
Is delicious. I think I've met the goal of gaining weight on this cruise. It's very delicious. But I'm not sure who to address it to, but from the time the ship is launched, is there a normal life expectancy for a vessel like this between certain overhauls and so forth? I mean, is it a 20-year life cycle on a ship like this, or is there such a thing? I mean,
No, there is no really lifetime or expectancy. It's very difficult to say because you can keep a ship running forever. The question is, how long will it be financially sustainable? And if we look back to our previous ships, when we were expanding our freestyle concept and the dining concept, the old ships didn't really fit into our project, so we let go of them, but they were sold to other operators, and most of those ships are now operating for more budget cruising in remote corners of the world. The only ship that we had that was really retired was the old SS Norway, which was built as an Atlantic liner, SS France, in 1960. She was retired in, I believe it was 2004, so she was 44 years old. But you can keep ships as long as we can sell the cruise to you guys, and you come back and visit us. We'll keep the ships running.
This question is for both of Stefans. I was just wondering, your opinion on how technology has helped you with your jobs throughout your careers, like new aids in navigation or engineering.
I think it's horrible. We got satellites. My wife can call me anytime now. There's no escape. That's my take on it.
Well, I agree pretty much with the chief said. It's a good thing that I have all these young officers coming in that knows this stuff, because I'm completely lost with all these computers. When I started working at sea, we were still using the sextant as the primary navigation system across the Atlantic, taking celestial bearings and so forth. But now they, of course, we don't do. I have one of those in my cabinet, but it probably hasn't been out of the cabinet since the ship was built. So, but no, of course, it is helping a lot, especially since the ships become bigger and the traffic becomes more intense. The modern technology will allow us to make our job more accurate than we did before. So from that point of view, safety and efficiency has increased with new technology.
Sonia, you have an army of people who clean, who wait on tables, who take care, and every single one that I've met has been wonderful, friendly, they knew their way around, they could direct you, they were courteous. How the heck do you recruit, select, and train these people? They're all really good, and how do you get such good people, so many?
We have nothing to do with the hiring process on board. We have recruiting office around the world, and recruiting. Then when the crew members coming on board the ship, we start to train them, and teach them and coach them throughout their contract.
And,
We're still looking for some crew member.
and the chef helps a lot because he serves a lot of rice. No rice, no power.
A question on your measuring the swells and wave heights. What's your baseline? How can you do that?
I read the reports. No, it comes with experience. You know pretty much by looking out over the ocean what the swells are like.
All right, on the starboard.
Engineer, when we was leaving out, again, Bar Harbor, when we was leaving out of Bar Harbor, we was actually dragging, for a few minutes there, we was dragging our lobster cage. The ship had hung one and was dragging alongside, and I could see it from my balcony. I guess two questions. Do a lot of ships come into Bar Harbor, and you get a lot of complaints from the fishermen of catching their traps? Over?
It was the chef, actually.
Actually, it's the opposite. The fishermen get a lot of complaints from us. They're not supposed to be there. Plus, they chew up my propellers. They can make a lot of environmental damage to the ship. These lines can go into the seals, I can start to leak oil. It's very bad news, in fact. So, but I'm not steering the ship, you know. I always blame the captain. So, please don't hit the lobsters. But it's kind of hard to avoid. So what I do, we have to send down divers every now and then and just clear up the ropes and keep checking it. It's a nuisance. It's very bad for any kind of ship, not just big ships. It's troublesome, very troublesome.
Pilots. Is there a maritime rule or regulation where you have to have a pilot all the time? Because I didn't think we had a pilot when we left out of Bar Harbor, but all the others, we had a pilot that took us in and a pilot that took us out. What's the rules?
Each and every port will have their own rules, harbor as well. Now the pilot comes on board and is advisor, so just to clarify the role. And so he is an expert in that port where he is piloting, and he will also be a traffic controller, and that is of course very important in very busy ports like New York. New York is a very difficult port for several reasons. The amount of traffic is one, and the water is moving all the time. You have the Hudson River, and you have the tide going in and out, so the water is constantly moving, and it's not moving in the same direction. So we need that expertise to be able to coach us through that. So the pilot comes on board and he will give us recommended routes and give us directions of where to go, and also he will sequence us in between the other ships, so to speak. But as far as maneuvering and controlling the ships, we still do that on board.
First of all, this has been a fantastic cruise. We've had a wonderful time. My question is, I've heard the Gem is getting ready to go into dry dock, and I'm a little curious about what that is all about.
Me too. But you're right about that. We go into dry dock in November, so the ship will be out of service for 2 weeks. And there is a lot of things that's going to be done. A lot of technical stuff, of course. There's certain things that we cannot do in traffic, like painting the bottom of the hull and changing propeller shaft bearings and so forth. But there's going to be a lot of refurbishment done in the guest area as well. So if you come back after November, you will see a completely new Gem. We're going to have the Spinnaker Lounge, where I take a couple of examples with the bowling courts and all. That's all going to be got. The brand new nightclub, the Italian restaurant's going to be brand new. The casino brand new. The Magenta restaurant. We're going to do an upgrade of the lobby area and the gift shop that is associated with that, and the bar, the Alba Cafe. There's a lot of stuff all around the ship, plus refurbishing, repostering furniture, changing carpets, etc. So and the bar over here and this lounge as well is going to be new. A lot of stuff is going to go. New ship.
Personal question. I'm booked on the breakaway for Sunday. What are my chances for going to Bermuda? Or are we going to come back up here?
Ooh, yeah. I think that your chances to get to Bermuda is still reasonably good. Don't ask me when you're going to get there. The latest is, I haven't plotted the breakaways tracks, and I haven't speculated in that. I have enough with my own ship. But for us, we tomorrow when we get out of New York, we're gonna need to get going as fast as we can around Cape Cod up towards Halifax to get away from, because it's actually not the hurricane that we are worried about. It's this low pressure which is still intensifying. So the winds and the waves are steadily increasing. It will be more tomorrow than it is today. But for you, yeah, the Hurricane Joaquin, which I mentioned in my noon announcement also, she's taking a more easterly route now. So she's not making landfall in the United States, which of course is very good for those of you living out there. I know a lot of people have been worried about that. So she's not going, she's going to go northeast, continue out to the Atlantic. So I would guess that the breakaway will find a way to sneak down the coast and go behind the hurricane and then go out to Bermuda. But then again, I haven't put my heart really to it.
Actually, I have a different question, but before that, I would like to follow up on the gentleman's question about dry docking. So what happens to your crew members when you are on dry dock?
Most of the crew members will stay on board the ship. We're going to take the opportunity to do deep cleaning of the ship in a way that we cannot do during traffic. But there's also going to be a lot of logistics. I mean, you're going to tear out thousands of square feet of carpets and reupholstery, and you need to bring material in and out of the ship and all that. So we need a lot of help with that. So most of the crew will stay.
Okay, well, my original question was, is there a future plan for the ship or the fleet to give free Wi-Fi to your customers?
When it comes to giving us things away for free, I don't think the plans are very substantial. To answer your direct question, I really don't know. I don't know if anybody else. No, I wouldn't think.
For me, to the engineer, I am really curious about the desalinization. How do you do that?
Desalinate. Well, actually we got two systems. Right now I'm running evaporators, so we evaporate the seawater, we boil it basically, so we catch the steam. And when you boil seawater, the salt gets left behind, right? So that's one system, and it's continuously running when we're out here. And then I also have a reverse osmosis system, and that's different principle. That's basically like a big filter. Still, you take the seawater and with high pressure, I push the water against the filter membrane, and the salt gets stuck in the membrane. And that's how it works. So we make water all the time. We have to, because all of us together we waste way too much fresh water on board. It's about 1,000 tons per day. And I can't hold that. The ship would be twice the size just to carry water. So we make it all the time out there. And it's really good quality. It's fresh. I check it for bacteria. And I drink it myself, I promise. It's really good stuff.
So last word, to conserve water, what do you do?
Yes, well the weather is pretty nasty, but I always recommend shower with a friend, save some water.
And if you have any further questions, your senior office will be available by the side of the bar. Well, let's go with Luke and then last here.
For the captain, I was on the Pearl a few years ago, and we looked out the window one morning just after sunrise, and there was a very small sailboat about 5 miles away bobbing along, which he had been doing all night. And I wonder, number one, how easy it is for you to spot him, and number two, if you're bobbing along in a small sailboat and you see a 90,000-ton vessel heading your way, what's the right-of-way?
Well, there is one rule which is not official, which says plastic gives way to steel. But if we see a sailing boat, we will certainly avoid that boat. Usually we detect them pretty good, but of course it depends a little bit on the weather conditions. A day like today, it's not very easy to detect them, neither visually or through our radar system, because the radar, you have to adjust the sensitivity, and if you run it on maximum sensitivity, it will pick up each and every white cap on the waves, and you could easily mistake that for a sailing boat. So if you're planning to go offshore with the boat, you should definitely carry what we call an AIS, an automated information system, which transmits that you're here. It transmits your position, it transmits what kind of boat you're in, and then we will definitely see you. So if you're in the yachting business, don't ever go offshore without an AIS. That's my definite recommendation.
All right, last question on starboard.
This is for Sonia. I feel sorry that you didn't get more questions, so.
I don't get my dinner.
My question is, for all of the great people on here that have served us, and we've talked to some of them, and I guess the average time aboard is 8 months, and then they rotate. But their berthing area, do they all have to share cabins, or do some of them have the I'm assuming the captain gets a private cabin. I mean, a private cabin. But as to them, I understand they have their own mess, and they have some of their own entertainment too. But could you elaborate a little bit more on that?
We officer, we have single cabins. Regular crew, still some of them have single cabins in depends of their entitlements. Some of them they do share cabins. On the true class ship, on this size of ships, we still have cabins where people need to share. But on the bigger ships, we built a big breakaway, getaway, and now escape. Majority of them they're gonna have single cabins. We do have crew recreation rooms, which is, we have 3 messes, 1 staff mess, 1 officer's mess, and 1 crew mess for crew and officer to dine. We have also a crew bar where our crew is hanging out to relax a little bit. We have a small recreation room. We have a training specialist on board. We have a crew enrichment on board who is organizing bingos or shows or activities for the crew. So we taking good care of them.
Dandan is sharing cabin with me. That's what they like it too.
Put your hands together for our senior officers, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for coming to the Q&A. Again, if you have any more questions, they will be available by the side of the bar. Stick around. Battle of the Cape Map is coming up.
It's about 2:40 in the afternoon on Friday, October 2nd. This is our last day on at sea, and then tomorrow we will be going into New York very early in the morning. And as you can see, it's a nasty day out here. There's another passenger ship on our starboard side running parallel to us. I don't know the name of it. I could try to take a look if I could find the name. Let's see. Can't quite make it out. But it's out there, and as you can see, the seas are really angry today. We're going, I believe, about 17 knots. And I went to a Q&A with the senior officers today, which is very interesting, and I'll share that with you at another date. But this is what the Atlantic looks like when it's angry and whatnot. Wouldn't want to be out in that water, I'll tell you that.